Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 drugstore foundations. These foundations, in my opinion, will give you glowing, beautiful and radiant skin. I recently shared my top 5 high-end foundations, and honestly there is not much between this list and the high-end list. So if some beautiful drugstore foundations sounds like something that you might be interested in, then please do keep on watching. In the last video, I did explain what my skin type is and what my preferences in a foundation are. So just in a really quick nutshell, I have normal to dry skin. I'm 42 years old. I like a glowy and a radiant complexion. I don't generally like matte foundations or super full coverage foundations, but you can find all of my details down in the description box below. There are lots and lots of drugstore foundations that I love, but these are the ones that have taken the top 5 spots. So they are going to be in order of preference, but honestly, I would be happy using any of these for the rest of my days. So you are going to see footage of me applying all of these foundations, and I have applied all of these with my usual BK Beauty 101 foundation brush. So in 5th place is the Catrice True Skin Foundation, and this retails for about £6 or $10, and for that you get 30ml of product. Now I just want you to bear in mind while I'm applying this foundation that this is currently too light for me. This is definitely my deep winter shade. The Catrice foundation comes in 18 shades and is the ultimate beauty secret for a natural and at the same time smooth complexion. The nourishing, long-lasting makeup with medium to high buildable coverage gently helps blemishes and redness disappear while feeling feathery light on the skin for an incomparable and naturally matte real skin finish. The vegan formula with hyaluronic acid and watermelon seed oil provides intensive moisture. It is gluten-free, it has no parabens, no microplastic particles, and it is cruelty-free. Honestly, this foundation on paper is not my type. It's not my type at all because I don't really enjoy a matte finish. But on me, it really isn't a matte finish. Definitely not true matte, but it's not dewy. It is somewhere, I would say, in between. So very, very soft. Very, very pretty. Out of all of these foundations, I would say that this has the highest coverage of them all, which again isn't something that I normally go for. And because of that, you really don't need a lot of this foundation. So a really small amount will go a really long way. I just love how this foundation looks on my skin. So it evens out my skin tone, it covers problematic areas such as my hyperpigmentation. And the Catrice, I would say, is very, very self-setting. So I never feel the need to use powder with this foundation. This foundation is actually made in Italy, and I genuinely think that you can tell how high quality this is. It's definitely an example of a high quality foundation for a really affordable price. So as for the negatives, I think that you need to be careful how much you apply. As I said before, you don't need much of it, and I think if you did apply too much, it will get heavy, especially around the pores or around smile lines. If you use the correct amount, it will look really, really natural. I think the only other negative for this is how easy it is to actually get your hands on. I know depending on where you are in the world, Catrice is either easy to get or it's not. Generally, you can find them on Amazon, but the shade ranges can be really, really abysmal. Most definitely an underrated foundation, and most definitely one I would encourage you to have a look at because it might surprise you. In 4th place is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Dewy Foundation. This retails for about $6 or £6, and for that you get 30ml of product. The Wet n Wild foundation comes in 20 shades, and it is a weightless, super nourishing foundation that delivers natural all-day wear. It is silky and creamy, and it is easily buildable from medium to full. It easily transitions from day to night wear, ideal for normal to dry skin types. This moisturizing formula blends seamlessly, blurs imperfections, and helps minimize the appearance of pores for a perfectly smooth and dewy finish. It is cruelty-free, gluten-free and talc-free. I have this foundation in the shade Classic Beige. I think I actually picked up this foundation for about £4. I think it was on sale at the time. And I couldn't believe how beautiful this foundation actually was. This is one of the most blendable foundations I've ever used. It genuinely feels like it is a serum. So it blends seamlessly. And I would say that this is a gift to anybody who has dry skin or normal to dry skin. Having said that, I don't know how it would work for people with super oily skin because this is a traditional dewy foundation. So in order to like this, you have to like dewy skin. It is not a self-setting foundation like I would say the Catrice is. I can assure you though that this does not look greasy. It does just look really beautiful and healthy, as you will have seen from the footage. With it being a dewy foundation, it feels super hydrating. Now, although it is dewy and it is glowy, it really does give you a good amount of coverage. I would say it's straight in there with a medium coverage, and I do think you can build it up as well. And I think the beauty of a foundation like this is it's not going to sit into any fine lines. It's not going to enhance texture. I would definitely describe this as a breathable foundation. It really is a delight to wear. So as for negatives, I think if you have more oily skin, I think you might want to avoid this. It could just slip off your face. I guess another negative is that although it lasts all day, it will start to fade as the day goes on. And the only other negative is the applicator. Okay, I don't know what this is. Look at this. It just gets so messy. It's like a spatula. I don't really get that, but that is just being really nitpicky. So I would say that if you are looking for something that feels nourishing, feels hydrating, that is very, very flattering, especially on mature skin, and that will give you that traditional dewy finish, the Wet n Wild is an amazing option and it will not break the bank. It is so super affordable. Number 3 is the Maybelline Superstay 24-Hour Skin Tint. This retails for about $17 or £13 and it comes in 20 shades. Can I just mention about the shades? The shade names in Europe are different to the shade names in America. So I have shade 34, which is a really lovely olive shade. The shade names are not going to be the same in America, and I don't know why they do this. So I did have a look at some shade comparisons. Well, I did email Maybelline, but they didn't get back to me. But I think that the closest equivalent to 34 would be 220, but I can't guarantee that because I haven't tried 220. So I'm really sorry if that is not helpful at all. This foundation is infused with vitamin C and creates a bright, natural look and lasts all day. Our vegan formula brightens and delivers beautiful skin-like coverage for a natural, radiant finish. It has a weightless feel, it resists sweat, humidity and fading, and it is suitable for all skin types, including sensitive skin. Now, the shade that you can see me applying here is definitely too dark for me now, but it's perfect in the summer. They have 20 shades, but I think that they are designed to be quite flexible. So if you've never tried this, you might be wondering why a skin tint has made the top 5, and honestly, skin tints are not really my jam a lot of the time. I prefer to use a light foundation or a light to medium foundation rather than a skin tint. But for me, this isn't really a skin tint. It's definitely a medium coverage foundation. This gives me a surprising amount of coverage, an amount of coverage that I didn't expect to get from a skin tint. I just love how hydrating and flattering this skin tint is. It's a very liquidy formula, but for me that means that it's super blendable. This has a vitamin C derivative in there, which means that it's designed to brighten the skin. So if you suffer with dull skin, or if you have sallow skin like me, foundation like this is really, really helpful in helping to just brighten up the complexion a little bit. And you don't need to use a lot of this foundation, because I do think that if you use too much, it can get a little bit too heavy and it can emphasize pores and lines if you use too much. So don't be fooled into thinking that it's a genuine skin tint and you can just lather it on, because it just doesn't work like that. They should change the name, actually. The amazing thing about this foundation is that it is transfer proof and that it is so reliable. It will last all day. So in terms of what I don't like about this, I think you all know what I'm going to say. It's the dropper. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. I just don't understand the need for a dropper. Maybe some people find it more hygienic. I don't know. So yeah, this is definitely one of my absolute favorites from the drugstore. A really beautiful and reliable foundation from Maybelline. So in second place is the L'Oreal True Match Super-Blendable Foundation. This retails for about £11 or $13 or $14, and for that you get 30 ml of product. So the L'Oreal True Match is a skincare infused foundation which is available in 48 shades. The formula provides perfect, natural and true skin coverage. It has been upgraded with a new skin matching technology which includes up to 6 different pigments for a more precise shade match. It is enriched with hyaluronic acid and the formula provides up to 24 hours of hydration, and it also claims to improve your skin's quality within 2 weeks. I have this foundation in the shade 3N and oh my goodness, I absolutely adore this foundation. It's been in my collection for a long time. It's something that I have always loved, and sometimes I forget about it because I have other foundations coming and going, but I always go back to it. And if someone was to ask me for a genuine and trusty foundation at the drugstore, one that I feel like would suit the majority of skin types, it would most definitely be this L'Oreal True Match. So first of all, the amazing shade match technology. I love this. I remember years ago, I think I had a Lancome foundation and it had that skin matching technology. Where did this go? Why did they stop this? Because this would help so many of us who really struggle between choosing between 2 or 3 shades. I think if you are a person that struggles with your shade match and sometimes you just get it a little bit off, this technology is like a dream come true. And I think you can see from the footage how well it actually matches my skin tone. Definitely one of the most lightweight foundations I've ever used in my life. So because it's so lightweight, because it's so liquidy, it just blends so well. So if you are a person that likes to wear foundation but you like to cut down on time in the morning, this foundation is it, because you don't have to spend forever blending it out because it is so super blendable. I think this gives a light to medium buildable coverage. If you are a person that really wants to wear a foundation but sometimes you find them too heavy, this is such a great option for you because it just feels so weightless and so airy. So although this foundation will give you a natural skin-like finish and it will allow for your radiance and your luminosity to come through, it definitely does set down. So it really reminds me of the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation in that sense. So it's much more lightweight than the NARS. So because it is self-setting, you don't really need to powder this foundation. Obviously you can if you want, if you get excessively oily, but I genuinely don't think that you need to powder it because it does set down itself. Negatives? I don't really have many negatives, to be honest. I think this is one of the best true foundations that the drugstore has to offer. And there's a reason why some people have been using it religiously for years and years and years. I do want to just give a little nod to this foundation, which is the L'Oreal True Match Tinted Serum. This is a true tint. It's a true tint, not like the Maybelline that says it's a tint, but it's actually a foundation. I could only pick 5 today. If I was to pick 6, this would have made it in. Great for those no makeup days where you don't want to wear nothing, but you don't want to wear a foundation. So I just wanted to say that this almost made the 5, but if you were looking for a skin tint from the drugstore, I really don't know if you can beat this one. It's super. We are now at the top spot, and if you have visited my channel before, if you have seen me talk about drugstore foundations, the number 1 will be absolutely no surprise to you. It's the e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation. This retails for about $8 or £8, and for that you get 30 ml of product, and it comes in 36 shades. This is a long-lasting satin finish foundation that delivers medium buildable coverage. It has a breathable formula which doesn't look or feel cakey. It is infused with 1% hydrating hibiscus complex plus pomegranate, blueberry and goji berry extracts. It is non-comedogenic, so it will not clog your pores. It's great for dry, oily and combination skin. And on their website, they also have an e.l.f. shade match guarantee, which means you will always find your perfect match. I have this in the shade 25, so 25 is definitely my summer shade. In the winter, I would be a shade 21. Interestingly enough, my first experience with this foundation was not really love at first sight or love at first application. I liked it. I thought it was a really decent foundation, but it didn't bowl me over. However, I kept using it and wow, this foundation can absolutely pass for a high-end foundation. So it's a foundation that I have on today. And honestly, if I want to have great looking skin, if I want to have a soft satin finish that is going to last all day, but that is going to allow for my natural luminosity and natural radiance to come through, I'm choosing this. It doesn't cling onto dry patches, it doesn't settle into lines, it just gives an absolutely flawless finish. Now, a lot of people have compared this to the Huda Beauty Easy Blur, and genuinely, I can see the comparison. Being completely honest with you, if I had to choose either the Huda Easy Blur, which I love, by the way, it was on my number 2 in my high-end list. If I had to choose the Huda or the e.l.f., I'm choosing the e.l.f. I have never looked at my face when I've had this foundation on and gone, God, that I don't look great today. Oh gosh, it's stuck to my dry patches. Oh my gosh, it's emphasizing my smile lines. I've never had that problem with this foundation. Whereas I've definitely gone in with the Huda before and applied too much and then thought, oh gosh, okay, right, I've gone wrong there with it. I need to be a bit more handy with it. If you were to do a blind test on high-end foundations and then throw this in, this would sit perfectly in there and you would think that it was a high-end foundation. And for £8, oh my gosh, if you want a foundation that is 100% reliable and that is going to last you from the moment that you put it on your face to the moment that it's time to take it off, then this is the one, because it won't fade, it won't melt off your face, it won't start to look patchy, it just looks flawless all day. It's very hard for me to find a negative with this foundation because there's nothing I don't like about it. I think if I was to be really nitpicky, it's the packaging. I mean, obviously they are saving money on the cost of this foundation by using, basic plastic packaging, but actually it's decent for traveling. It's very secure, it's not going to smash. I don't love tubes, all right? I don't love tubes. I prefer a pump. That's just personal preference. There's not much else I can say about this foundation other than it is absolutely top tier, and in my opinion, it's the best foundation you can find at the drugstore, hands down. So there we are, my top 5 foundations at the drugstore. Now, obviously, there are lots of drugstore foundations that I absolutely, truly love. I did try to pick ones that are at true drugstore prices because, let's be honest, some foundations are out of control in their prices. I mean, some of them you're talking like 18 quid for a foundation, and that just blows my mind, okay, for a drugstore price. So there are lots of really amazing foundations, but for me, these are the most wearable, they are the most flattering, they are the most radiant, and they are affordable to boot. So do let us know in the comments, what is your favorite drugstore foundation? We would love to hear all about them and what your experiences have been. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I so appreciate you being here with me. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next one. But until then, take care and bye for now.